Las Vegas, the back alley of the Golden Nugget Casino, March 12, 2022. 2:37 a.m. The neon-soaked city never sleeps, but in the service alleys behind the glittering casinos, a different kind of business unfolds in the shadows. Exhaust fans hum constantly, industrial dumpsters line concrete corridors, and the detritus of another profitable night awaits removal by the army of invisible workers who keep Las Vegas functioning while the world focuses on the bright lights out front. A garbage truck backs slowly into the narrow alley, its headlights dim to avoid attracting attention from the few remaining customers stumbling out of the casino's side entrances. The diesel engine rumbles with mechanical reliability as the driver positions his vehicle with the practiced precision of someone who has performed this routine hundreds of times. Robert "Bobby" Torres sits behind the wheel in his standard-issue uniform, clipboard balanced on the dashboard, looking like every other service worker in Las Vegas. Ordinary, unremarkable, and completely invisible to the casino staff who barely acknowledge his presence during their brief interactions. But tonight is different. Tonight, instead of collecting bags filled with discarded promotional materials, empty bottles and food waste, Bobby is preparing to haul away $2 million in casino cash that has been temporarily stored in what casino management believed was a secure overflow area. He was just a garbage truck driver working the overnight shift on the Las Vegas Strip. But Bobby Torres had discovered that the casino's dirtiest secret wasn't locked in their vault. It was sitting in their trash. Before we dive into how an invisible service worker turned routine waste collection into one of the most audacious thefts in Las Vegas history, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that hype button to boost this documentary so more people can discover these incredible true crime stories. Now let's meet the man who proved that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones people throw away. The forgotten professional Bobby Torres embodied the paradox of modern service work, essential to the operation of Las Vegas's entertainment economy, while remaining completely invisible to the wealthy customers and casino executives who depended on his reliable performance. At 44, he had spent 8 years building a reputation as the most dependable overnight garbage collection driver on the Strip, someone who could be trusted to handle the complex logistics of waste removal without interfering with casino operations or attracting unwanted attention. Bobby's path to the Las Vegas waste management industry had begun after a series of construction jobs throughout Nevada that had gradually disappeared as economic conditions changed and automation reduced demand for manual labor. His transition to garbage collection represented steady employment with benefits, even if the compensation was modest and the work hours challenging. The Ace Waste Management Company had hired Bobby in 2014 based on his clean driving record, reliable work history, and the kind of systematic approach to logistics that made complex collection routes manageable. His assigned territory included several major casinos along the Strip, requiring coordination with security personnel, precise timing to avoid interfering with customer activities, and discretion about the sensitive materials that casinos regularly discarded. Bobby's official duties extended far beyond simply collecting trash bags. His responsibilities included coordinating with casino security for access to restricted areas, managing collection timing to minimize disruption to operations, and handling specialized disposal requirements for materials that casinos couldn't process through normal waste streams. The position provided Bobby with unprecedented access to the backstage operations of Las Vegas casinos, including detailed knowledge of cash handling procedures, security routines, and the operational patterns that govern when valuable assets might be most vulnerable during transition periods between different casino departments. Bobby's personal life reflected the financial constraints that affected most service workers despite their proximity to extraordinary wealth. His apartment in a modest complex 15 minutes from the Strip consumed nearly half his monthly income, while vehicle expenses, utilities, and basic living costs left little discretionary spending for entertainment or savings accumulation. His lifestyle was necessarily practical rather than comfortable. Reliable transportation, careful budgeting, and social activities limited mainly to co-workers who shared similar financial circumstances and work schedules that isolated them from normal social interactions. Bobby had no gambling habits, limited recreational expenses, and no obvious vices that might motivate criminal behavior. But Bobby's 8 years of overnight work had provided him with extraordinary insight into the operational vulnerabilities and assumptions that govern how casinos manage their most sensitive activities during the quiet hours when customer attention was focused elsewhere and security oversight was divided between multiple responsibilities. His route required him to work closely with casino security personnel, maintenance staff, and the various service workers who kept casino operations functioning smoothly. These relationships had created a level of familiarity and trust that made Bobby part of the invisible infrastructure rather than a potential security threat requiring careful monitoring. The trust would prove to be the foundation of Bobby's criminal opportunity. His 8 years of perfect reliability had earned him access to areas and information that few external individuals could obtain, while his reputation for discretion and professionalism meant that his activities were rarely questioned or closely supervised. Most importantly, Bobby had developed comprehensive understanding of how casinos handled the transition periods when valuable assets moved between different operational areas. The brief windows when normal security procedures might be relaxed in favor of operational efficiency, and when trusted service workers might have unsupervised access to materials that were normally protected by multiple layers of security. The architecture of waste. The casino waste management system represented a complex operation designed to handle enormous volumes of materials while maintaining security for sensitive items that couldn't be processed through normal disposal channels. The system balanced operational efficiency with security requirements, but Bobby's access to these operations revealed vulnerabilities that had never been considered by security consultants who focused on more obvious threat vectors. Bobby's collection road included 5 major casinos along a 3-mile stretch of the Strip, each with different operational requirements, security procedures, and timing constraints that affected when and how waste collection could be performed without disrupting customer activities or compromising security protocols. The most sensitive collections involved materials from casino financial operations, shredded documents, discarded cash handling supplies, and the various items that accumulated during daily processing of hundreds of millions in gaming proceeds. These materials required special handling to prevent information disclosure or accidental disposal of items that retained value. Bobby began systematically studying these specialized collection procedures, documenting patterns and timing requirements while disguising his intelligence gathering as professional interest in operational efficiency and security compliance. His approach was methodical and patient, involving careful observation of procedures that he had previously taken for granted. The breakthrough insight came when Bobby realized that casino cash handling operations occasionally generated temporary storage situations where valuable items might be placed in overflow areas that were considered secure but weren't subject to the same level of protection as primary vault systems. His analysis revealed that during particularly busy periods, major tournaments, holiday weekends, or special events, the volume of cash processing could overwhelm normal capacity and require temporary storage solutions that prioritize operational flow over maximum security protocols. More importantly, Bobby discovered that these overflow situations were often managed through coordination between departments that didn't always communicate effectively about security requirements, creating opportunities when valuable items might be temporarily stored in areas that received less intensive monitoring. The critical vulnerability involved Bobby's understanding that casino security personnel were focused primarily on protecting against external threats and customer fraud rather than systematic theft by trusted service workers who had legitimate access to sensitive areas and understood operational procedures. Bobby's position provided perfect justification for his presence in areas where overflow storage might occur, and his 8-year reputation for reliability meant that his activities would rarely be questioned unless obvious anomalies attracted attention from supervisory personnel. His technical analysis revealed that casino waste collection areas were designed to handle normal operational requirements rather than serve as secure storage for valuable items. But the proximity to financial processing areas meant that overflow situations could result in valuable materials being temporarily placed in locations where waste collection personnel might encounter them. The insight that would eventually cost casinos $2 million involved Bobby's realization that his legitimate waste collection duties could provide perfect cover for accessing valuable items that were temporarily stored in overflow areas, while his knowledge of collection timing and security procedures would enable him to exploit these opportunities without triggering immediate detection. The psychology of invisibility. Bobby's criminal transformation didn't happen overnight. It was the result of years of psychological conditioning that came from being treated as part of the machinery rather than as a human being by the wealthy casino patrons and management who barely acknowledged his existence despite depending on his reliable service. The daily routine of emptying trash bins filled with champagne bottles that cost more than his weekly salary, discarded casino chips that represented more than his annual rent, and crumpled $100 bills that wealthy gamblers had tossed aside like tissue paper, created a cognitive dissonance that gradually eroded his respect for the legitimate boundaries that separated him from the wealth he encountered. Bobby's resentment crystallized during a particularly degrading incident in November 2021 when a pharmaceutical executive, celebrating FDA approval of a new drug, had literally thrown cash at Bobby while laughing with his friends about making it rain for the help. The executive had scattered more money on the ground than Bobby earned in a month, treating him like entertainment rather than a professional providing essential services. That same week, Bobby received an eviction notice for falling behind on rent after his ex-wife's medical emergency had consumed his savings. The irony of facing homelessness while cleaning up after people who casually discarded more money than his annual housing costs created a psychological breaking point that shifted his perspective on property rights and legitimate wealth ownership. His transformation from law-abiding service worker to potential criminal began with small rationalizations. If wealthy customers literally threw money in the trash, was retrieving it really theft? If casinos discarded materials that still had value, who was really being harmed by preventing waste? These mental justifications gradually expanded to encompass larger ethical compromises. Bobby's criminal psychology was further shaped by his observation of how casinos treated their most profitable customers versus their lowest-paid employees. He watched billionaires receive comped meals, luxury suites, and VIP treatment for gambling away fortunes, while hard-working employees like himself were disciplined for minor infractions and denied basic benefits that would improve their quality of life. The psychological preparation for betraying his professional trust involved months of mental conditioning, where Bobby gradually redefined his relationship with his employers in the casino industry. He began viewing himself not as a trusted employee, but as an exploited worker whose labor generated enormous profits while he struggled financially. His research into casino profit margins revealed that the industry generated billions in annual revenue while paying service workers subsistence wages, creating a narrative in Bobby's mind that framed his planned theft as wealth redistribution rather than criminal activity. This psychological reframing was essential for overcoming ethical constraints that had previously prevented criminal consideration. The isolation inherent in overnight service work contributed to Bobby's psychological transformation by limiting his social connections to other financially struggling service workers who shared similar resentments about economic inequality. This echo chamber reinforced his developing criminal mindset while providing no counterbalancing perspectives that might have prevented his ethical deterioration. Bobby's study of casino security procedures during his criminal preparation phase was accompanied by increasing psychological detachment from his professional identity and growing identification with an adversarial relationship toward his employers. This mental shift was crucial for developing the emotional capability to betray relationships built over 8 years of mutual trust. The intelligence network. Bobby's criminal preparation extended beyond solo observation to include systematic intelligence gathering through relationships with other service workers who had access to different aspects of casino operations. His approach to building this informal network was gradual and careful, ensuring that his associates remained unaware of his criminal intentions while providing valuable operational information. The most important relationship was with Maria Santos, a casino cleaning supervisor who had worked at the Golden Nugget for 12 years and possessed comprehensive knowledge of security procedures, personnel schedules, and the timing patterns that governed when different areas of the casino were most vulnerable to unauthorized access. Maria's recruitment was subtle and indirect, beginning with casual conversations about workplace frustrations and gradually evolving into more detailed discussions about operational inefficiencies and security gaps that both workers had observed during their service employment. Bobby presented his interest as professional curiosity rather than criminal reconnaissance. Maria's value to Bobby's intelligence gathering involved her access to information about special events, unusual operational requirements, and the coordination challenges that occurred when casino management had to process larger than normal amounts of cash or valuable assets during peak activity periods. Her insights revealed that major tournaments and special events created predictable patterns of operational stress that resulted in temporary storage situations, modified security procedures, and coordination gaps between different departments. This intelligence was crucial for Bobby's understanding of when criminal opportunities might arise. The second key relationship was with James Chen, a casino maintenance worker whose responsibilities included servicing waste management areas and who possessed detailed knowledge of the physical infrastructure, security camera placement, and access procedures that governed how service personnel moved through restricted areas. James's contribution involved technical information about surveillance blind spots, access timing, and the maintenance schedules that could provide cover for unusual activities in sensitive areas. His knowledge of security system maintenance windows was particularly valuable for planning activities that needed to avoid electronic detection. Bobby's approach to extracting information from James was patient and professional, involving discussions about operational efficiency and safety procedures that made his inquiries appear routine rather than suspicious. James never suspected that his technical knowledge was being compiled for criminal purposes. The third crucial relationship was with Tony Rodriguez, a former casino security guard who had left employment due to disciplinary issues, but retained detailed knowledge of security protocols, personnel procedures, and the specific vulnerabilities that existed during shift changes and personnel transitions. Tony's recruitment was more delicate because his background in security made him potentially more aware of the criminal implications of Bobby's questions. However, his resentment toward his former employers made him willing to share information about security weaknesses that he viewed as justifiable criticism rather than criminal intelligence. Tony's insights revealed the human factors in casino security operations, which guards were thorough versus careless, how personnel shortages affected coverage during overnight hours, and the specific times when security attention was divided between multiple priorities that could create opportunities for unauthorized activities. The intelligence network that Bobby developed provided him with comprehensive understanding of casino operations from multiple perspectives, enabling him to identify vulnerabilities that would have been invisible to someone with access to only a single operational area. The network's compartmentalized structure ensured that no individual understood the complete scope of Bobby's information gathering. Bobby's coordination of these relationships required careful management to prevent his associates from comparing notes or recognizing patterns that might reveal his systematic intelligence gathering. His approach involved maintaining separate relationships that appeared independent while extracting maximum value from each source. The psychological manipulation involved in maintaining these relationships required Bobby to suppress his natural tendencies toward honesty and straightforward communication in favor of calculated social engineering that exploited his colleagues' trust and workplace frustrations for criminal purposes. The mechanical modifications. Bobby's conversion of his garbage truck into a sophisticated theft platform required months of mechanical work conducted in secret at a rented garage facility where he could modify the vehicle without attracting attention from supervisors or co-workers who might question unauthorized alterations to company equipment. The primary modification involved creating a concealed compartment beneath the truck's compaction mechanism that would provide secure storage for stolen materials while maintaining normal appearance and operational functionality during routine waste collection activities observed by casino security personnel and other workers. Bobby's engineering approach was methodical and professional, drawing on mechanical skills developed during years of construction work and informal training in heavy equipment maintenance. His design prioritized functionality and concealment over aesthetics, focusing on creating modifications that would be undetectable during casual inspection. The construction process began with detailed measurements and analysis of the truck's existing structure to identify optimal locations for hidden storage that wouldn't compromise operational capabilities or create obvious evidence of unauthorized modifications during routine maintenance or inspection procedures. Bobby's design included reinforcement of existing structural components to handle additional weight loads, without affecting vehicle performance, ensuring that the truck would continue to operate normally while carrying substantial amounts of stolen currency or other valuable materials that might be acquired during criminal operations. The access mechanism for the hidden compartment required sophisticated engineering to provide secure entry while maintaining concealment from unauthorized personnel. Bobby's solution involved a secondary locking system that could only be operated through knowledge of specific procedures that wouldn't be obvious to casual observers or standard inspection personnel. The locking mechanism was integrated with existing truck systems in ways that made it appear to be standard equipment rather than criminal modification, using components that were available through legitimate heavy equipment suppliers and wouldn't attract attention during acquisition or installation procedures. Bobby's testing of the modified systems was conducted during overnight hours at the garage facility, using substitute materials that approximated the weight and bulk characteristics of currency bundles to ensure that the hidden compartment would function reliably under operational conditions. The weight distribution testing was particularly important because Bobby needed to ensure that the truck would handle normally when loaded with stolen materials, preventing detection through changes in driving characteristics that might be noticed by experienced drivers or maintenance personnel familiar with the vehicle's standard performance. The ventilation and environmental protection systems were designed to prevent damage to stored materials during transport and concealment periods that might extend over several hours, while Bobby implemented escape procedures and transferred stolen assets to more permanent storage locations. Bobby's attention to detail extended to creating backup systems and redundant access procedures that would provide alternatives if primary mechanisms failed during criminal operations, ensuring that stolen materials could be recovered, even if technical problems occurred during critical phases of theft activities. The final testing phase involved comprehensive evaluation of all modified systems under simulated operational conditions, including verification that the truck would pass routine inspection procedures, while concealing evidence of modifications that had transformed it from waste collection equipment into a sophisticated criminal tool. Shakhtar, the financial infrastructure. Bobby's preparation for converting and concealing stolen casino assets required establishing financial infrastructure that could handle large amounts of cash while maintaining separation from his legitimate identity and providing security against law enforcement detection and asset recovery procedures. The first component involved researching money laundering techniques and establishing relationships with individuals who possessed capabilities for converting stolen currency into forms that could be used for legitimate purposes without creating obvious connections to criminal activities. Bobby's approach to financial planning was systematic and cautious, involving consultation with individuals who had experience in underground financial services while maintaining operational security that would prevent discovery of his criminal preparations by law enforcement agencies that monitored such activities. The establishment of offshore banking relationships required Bobby to acquire false identity documentation that could support account opening procedures in jurisdictions with limited cooperation with American law enforcement agencies. This process involved substantial advance investment and careful coordination with document specialists. Bobby's research into international banking regulations revealed specific countries and financial institutions that provided enhanced privacy protections for account holders while maintaining sufficient legitimacy to handle large transactions without triggering automatic reporting requirements that might alert American authorities. The currency conversion process required access to services that could transform stolen American dollars into other forms of value, foreign currencies, precious metals, cryptocurrency, or other assets that would be more difficult for law enforcement agencies to trace and recover through conventional investigation techniques. Bobby's financial preparation included establishing secure storage facilities for temporary concealment of stolen assets, while conversion procedures were implemented, ensuring that valuable materials would be protected from theft or discovery during the vulnerable period between criminal acquisition and final disposition. The storage facilities were located in different jurisdictions from Bobby's planned escape destinations, providing additional security layers that would complicate law enforcement efforts to recover stolen assets even if his criminal activities were discovered and his location was determined. Communication security became increasingly important as Bobby's financial preparations involved coordination with multiple criminal service providers whose activities could attract law enforcement attention and potentially expose his theft plans through investigation of their other criminal operations. Bobby's establishment of encrypted communication methods and development of operational security protocols provided protection for all participants in his financial network while ensuring that critical information about criminal preparations would remain secure against law enforcement surveillance and investigation techniques. The complexity of Bobby's financial infrastructure reflected his understanding that successful large-scale theft required not only criminal execution, but also sophisticated post-crime asset management that could defeat law enforcement recovery efforts while providing long-term financial security for his planned new life. The moment of truth. The execution of Bobby's criminal plan on March 12, 2022, represented the culmination of months of systematic preparation and required flawless coordination of multiple technical, logistical, and psychological factors that had to align perfectly for the theft to succeed without immediate detection. Bobby's arrival at the Golden Nugget at 2:37 a.m. represented the critical moment when theoretical criminal planning would either succeed or fail based on the accuracy of his intelligence gathering and the reliability of his technical preparations over the preceding months. His initial assessment of conditions at the casino revealed that his intelligence network had provided accurate information about the overflow storage situation, with sealed bags containing valuable assets positioned exactly where his reconnaissance had predicted they would be during major tournament processing activities. The security environment was consistent with Bobby's analysis of personnel patterns and attention distribution during peak operational periods, with guards focused on managing tournament conclusion activities rather than monitoring waste collection areas that were considered low priority for security oversight. Bobby's approach to the overflow storage area required careful timing to avoid coinciding with personnel movements or security rounds that might create witnesses to his criminal activities, while maintaining the appearance of routine waste collection that wouldn't attract attention from casual observers. The physical transfer of sealed bags from casino storage to his truck's hidden compartment represented the most dangerous phase of his criminal operation, requiring him to work quickly while maintaining awareness of potential interruptions or discovery by security personnel or other casino employees. The bags were heavier than Bobby had anticipated, requiring him to modify his handling procedures to avoid creating noise or other disturbances that might attract attention, while ensuring that all valuable materials were successfully transferred to secure concealment within his modified vehicle. Bobby's timing during the transfer phase was critical because he had calculated that approximately 8 minutes would be required for complete criminal execution, based on his analysis of security patrol patterns and personnel movement schedules during overnight operational periods. The successful completion of asset transfer within his predicted time frame confirmed that his months of preparation had identified genuine criminal opportunities, and that his technical modifications provided adequate capabilities for sophisticated theft operations without triggering immediate detection systems. Bobby's departure from the Golden Nugget required maintaining normal behavior patterns while concealing his awareness that he had just committed one of the most unusual thefts in Las Vegas casino history, demonstrating psychological control developed through extensive mental preparation for criminal activities. His continuation of routine waste collection activities at subsequent stops provided perfect alibis while ensuring that the stolen assets were transported away from the immediate crime scene, using procedures that appeared completely legitimate to any observers who might later be questioned during criminal investigation. The completion of his modified collection route marked the successful conclusion of the theft phase of Bobby's criminal operation, but also the beginning of the most challenging aspects of his plan: converting stolen assets and implementing permanent escape procedures that would provide long-term security against law enforcement detection and apprehension. The investigation deepens. Bobby's criminal education unfolded over months of careful observation, disguised as routine professional performance, involving systematic documentation of security procedures, timing patterns, and operational vulnerabilities that could potentially support sophisticated theft operations while maintaining his reputation as a model employee. His approach to intelligence gathering was methodical and professional, involving detailed study of casino operations that extended beyond his official waste collection responsibilities to include comprehensive understanding of cash handling procedures, security personnel schedules, and the coordination between different departments that might affect when valuable items were most vulnerable. The first phase involved mapping the physical infrastructure of casino waste management areas, including identification of storage locations, access routes, and surveillance coverage that might affect criminal activities. Bobby's legitimate duties provided perfect cover for this reconnaissance, while his familiarity with security personnel made his presence routine rather than suspicious. Bobby discovered that casino waste areas contained numerous blind spots where surveillance coverage was limited by architectural constraints, equipment placement, and the assumption that authorized service personnel in restricted areas were conducting legitimate activities rather than criminal reconnaissance. His analysis of security camera placement revealed specific locations where brief activities might occur without being recorded or observed by monitoring personnel, providing potential opportunities for criminal actions that wouldn't leave obvious evidence or trigger immediate investigation. The timing component was equally important, as Bobby needed to understand the predictable patterns that governed when security oversight was minimal and when valuable items might be temporarily accessible to someone with appropriate access and knowledge of operational procedures. Bobby's study of security personnel revealed that overnight shifts operated with reduced staffing and divided attention, with guards focused on multiple responsibilities that created periods when individual areas might receive less intensive monitoring than during peak operational hours. More importantly, Bobby learned to recognize the behavioral patterns that indicated when special circumstances, overtime processing, equipment problems, or coordination challenges might create unusual conditions that could provide criminal opportunities for someone who understood how to exploit operational disruptions. His psychological preparation involved conditioning himself to overcome the ethical constraints that had previously prevented him from considering criminal activities, while maintaining the professional behavior that made his intelligence gathering invisible to supervisors and security personnel who trusted his integrity. Bobby's technical preparation included research into methods for modifying his garbage truck to provide secure storage for stolen items while maintaining normal appearance and operational functionality during routine waste collection activities that would be observed by casino security and other personnel. The modification process required careful planning to ensure that changes would be undetectable during routine inspection while providing sufficient capacity for large amounts of cash or other valuable items that might be acquired through criminal activities. By early 2022, Bobby had completed comprehensive analysis of casino waste management operations and identified specific opportunities where sophisticated theft might be possible while maintaining operational security sufficient to avoid immediate detection and provide time for successful escape before criminal activities were discovered. The technical preparation. Bobby's conversion of his garbage truck into a sophisticated theft tool required months of careful modification work conducted during off hours at a rented garage facility where his activities wouldn't attract attention from supervisors or coworkers who might question unauthorized equipment alterations. The primary modification involved creating a hidden compartment beneath the truck's compaction mechanism, designed to provide secure storage for stolen materials while maintaining normal appearance and operational functionality during routine waste collection activities that would be observed by casino security personnel. Bobby's engineering approach was systematic and professional, involving careful measurement and design to ensure that the hidden compartment would be undetectable during routine inspection, while providing sufficient capacity for substantial amounts of cash or other valuable items that might be targeted during criminal operations. The construction process required specialized tools and materials acquired gradually through legitimate channels to avoid creating suspicious purchasing patterns that might attract attention from law enforcement agencies that monitored unusual acquisition activities by individuals in sensitive service positions. Bobby's modifications included installation of a secondary locking mechanism that could only be accessed through knowledge of specific procedures that wouldn't be obvious to casual observers or standard inspection personnel who might examine the truck during routine maintenance or security checks. The hidden compartment was designed to maintain proper weight distribution and operational balance during normal truck operations while providing secure storage that would protect stolen materials from damage during transport and concealment activities that might extend over several hours. Testing of the modified equipment was conducted during legitimate waste collection activities when Bobby could verify functionality without attracting attention from supervisors or security personnel who might question unusual procedures or equipment behavior during routine operations. The weight capacity and access procedures were refined through systematic testing with substitute materials that approximated the characteristics of currency and other valuable items that might be targeted during actual criminal operations, ensuring reliable performance under operational conditions. Bobby's technical preparation also included research into timing and routing modifications that would provide opportunities for accessing the hidden compartment during waste collection activities without creating obvious deviations from normal procedures that might trigger security attention or investigation. His approach to operational security involved developing procedures for activating and using the hidden compartment that would appear to be routine maintenance activities or normal variations in waste collection procedures, rather than criminal actions that might attract attention from observing personnel. The communication and coordination aspects required establishing secure methods for monitoring casino operations and identifying optimal opportunities when valuable items might be temporarily accessible, while security oversight was minimal and escape routes were available. By March 2022, Bobby had completed all technical modifications and operational preparations necessary for attempting sophisticated theft of casino assets during routine waste collection activities, with comprehensive capabilities for secure transport and concealment that would support successful criminal operations. The night of opportunity, March 12, 2022, represented the convergence of conditions that Bobby had been monitoring for months. A major baccarat tournament at the Golden Nugget had generated exceptional cash volumes that would strain normal processing capacity and potentially create the overflow storage situation that represented his optimal criminal opportunity. Bobby's intelligence gathering had confirmed that tournament conclusion would involve processing approximately $15 million in various forms of currency, chips, and negotiable instruments that would require coordination between multiple casino departments while maintaining security for assets that exceeded normal handling capacity. The logistical complexity of managing such large amounts during a compressed time frame would likely result in temporary storage situations where valuable items might be placed in overflow areas with reduced security oversight, while permanent storage and transport arrangements were coordinated. Bobby's shift on March 12th began at his usual time, with routing that would bring him to the Golden Nugget during the critical period when tournament processing would be generating the operational conditions necessary for his criminal plan to succeed. At 1:45 a.m., Bobby began his approach to the Golden Nugget, conducting routine waste collection at earlier stops while monitoring radio communications and observing activity levels that would indicate whether conditions were developing as his intelligence had predicted. His arrival at the Golden Nugget at 2:37 a.m. revealed that his analysis had been accurate. Unusual activity in waste storage areas indicated that overflow processing was occurring and that valuable items might indeed be temporarily stored in locations where his waste collection duties would provide legitimate access. Bobby's initial reconnaissance confirmed the presence of sealed bags in the overflow storage area that appeared consistent with cash-in-transit containers rather than normal waste materials, suggesting that his months of preparation had identified a genuine criminal opportunity. The security situation was optimal, with guards occupied by tournament conclusion activities and waste area monitoring reduced to minimal levels, while personnel focused on managing the complex logistics of processing enormous amounts of valuable assets under time pressure. Working with practiced efficiency developed through months of mental rehearsal, Bobby accessed the overflow storage area and identified sealed bags that appeared to contain currency rather than waste materials, confirming that the opportunity he had prepared for was indeed present. His transfer of the sealed bags from casino storage to his truck's hidden compartment required approximately 8 minutes of careful work, but was conducted during a period when security attention was focused elsewhere, and his presence in the area was considered routine rather than suspicious. The bags were heavy and awkwardly shaped, consistent with containing large amounts of currency, and Bobby's handling revealed that the total weight suggested substantial value that would justify the extraordinary risks involved in betraying 8 years of trusted service relationships. Bobby's departure from the Golden Nugget at 2:51 a.m. appeared completely routine to security personnel and other observers, with his truck showing no obvious signs of containing anything other than the waste materials that his collection route would normally involve during standard operational procedures. His continued waste collection activities at subsequent stops provided perfect cover for the criminal cargo while establishing normal behavioral patterns that would support his alibi if questions arose about his activities during the critical period when the theft had occurred. By 4:15 a.m., Bobby had completed his modified collection route and was proceeding toward the storage facility where he would transfer the stolen materials from his truck to more secure concealment while implementing the escape procedures that he had developed during months of criminal planning. Bobby's double life began the moment he transferred stolen casino cash from his modified garbage truck into a rented Henderson storage unit. Inside sealed bags sat $2 million in mixed bills, months of planning justified in one heavy stack of currency. He carefully repacked the money into ordinary luggage to avoid suspicion during travel. For months, he had built false identities, offshore banking trails, and escape routes designed to buy time once the theft was discovered. He ditched the garbage truck in a routine fashion, switched to untraceable transport, and left Las Vegas before the casino even noticed the loss. By morning, Bobby Torres no longer existed. In his place stood a man with a new name, new papers, and enough cash to disappear forever. The missing $2 million triggered chaos. At first, casino staff assumed an accounting error, but armored car crews soon confirmed the money was gone. FBI agents were on site within hours. Surveillance showed Bobby's route looked routine, until investigators noticed subtle timing breaks. His spotless record made him an unlikely suspect, yet garbage drivers had unique access. When his abandoned truck revealed secret modifications, the theory crystallized. He'd used his invisibility to steal what no one thought possible. Federal agencies widened the net, analyzing his finances and border traffic. But Bobby's head start, false IDs, and meticulous erasure of digital traces gave him the edge. In the end, the man who once hauled away trash proved that the most dangerous criminal is often the one no one bothers to notice, until he vanishes with their fortune.